The origin story of the universe is far more astounding than you might think. Over the next few minutes, you'll uncover 7 incredible secrets hidden in the book of Genesis that will challenge everything you thought you knew about creation. Stay with us until the end for a powerful prayer that will transform your understanding of your place in God's grand design. Are you ready to uncover the truth that's been right under your nose all along? When we hear "in the beginning," we think we know what it means. But hold on tight, because the original Hebrew text reveals something mind-bending. The word used here, Bereshit, doesn't just mean "in the beginning" as we understand it. It's more accurately translated as "in beginning" or "at the start of." This subtle difference opens up a whole new perspective on creation. It suggests that God's creative act wasn't just a one-time event, but an ongoing process. Imagine the universe not as a finished product, but as a continuous unfolding of God's creative power. Furthermore, the text doesn't say, "In the beginning God created the heavens and the earth." It actually says, "In beginning God created the heavens and the earth." This implies that time itself began with creation. Before this moment, time as we understand it didn't exist. The word "created" here is bara in Hebrew, a term used exclusively for God's creative activity, implying creation out of nothing ex nihilo. This concept was revolutionary in ancient times when most creation myths involved gods shaping pre-existing matter. The phrase, "the heavens and the earth," is a figure of speech where 2 contrasting parts are used to describe the whole, indicating the entire universe in all its complexity. One of the most intriguing aspects of the Genesis creation account is the appearance of light on the first day, while the sun, moon, and stars aren't created until the 4th day. This seeming contradiction has puzzled readers for centuries, but it also offers a fascinating glimpse into the nature of light and the universe itself. On day 1, God says, "Let there be light," and light appears. Genesis 1 verse 3. However, it's not until day 4 that God creates the 2 great lights, the sun and moon, along with the stars. Genesis 1 verses 14 to 19. This ordering seems to defy our basic understanding of how light works in our solar system, since the sun is the source of light for Earth. But what if this apparent paradox is actually a profound insight into the universe's nature? Modern cosmology tells us that the early universe was filled with light long before stars formed. In the first moments after the Big Bang, the universe was a super hot, dense plasma that glowed brightly. As it expanded and cooled, it eventually became transparent, releasing what we now observe as the cosmic microwave background radiation, the afterglow of the Big Bang itself. This primordial light existed before any stars or galaxies formed. It's as if the Genesis account, in its poetic way, is describing the earliest stages of the universe's formation. The light of day 1 could be understood as this cosmic pre-stellar light. The creation of light on day 1 is also rich with symbolic meaning. In many cultures and religions, light represents knowledge, truth, and divine presence. By separating light from darkness at the very beginning, the text establishes a fundamental duality that runs throughout the Bible: light versus darkness, good versus evil, knowledge versus ignorance. The Hebrew word used for light here is or, which can also mean order or intelligence, suggesting that what God created on the first day wasn't just physical light, but the very principles and laws that govern the universe. The 4th day can be seen as the implementation of these laws in the form of celestial bodies. The sun, moon, and stars are described as lights in the vault of the sky to separate the day from the night and serve as signs to mark sacred times and days and years. Genesis 1 verses 14 to 18. This language emphasizes their function rather than their substance, suggesting that their primary purpose is to order time and space for life on Earth. This functional description aligns interestingly with our modern understanding of how essential the sun and moon are for life on Earth. The sun provides not just light, but the energy that drives almost all of Earth's ecosystems. The moon's gravitational pull creates the tides, which have played a crucial role in the evolution of life on our planet. Furthermore, the ability of humans to mark time and navigate by the stars has been fundamental to the development of civilization. From ancient agricultural calendars to modern GPS systems, our lives are profoundly influenced by these celestial lights. Whether understood literally or metaphorically, the account of light before the sun reminds us that there's always more to discover about the magnificent universe we inhabit. This divine preference ignited a series of tragic events. The Bible doesn't clearly explain why God favored Abel's offering over Cain's, leading to centuries of speculation. Some believe God preferred animal sacrifices, while others suggest Abel's offering was given with a more sincere heart, as hinted in Hebrews 11 verse 4. By faith Abel brought God a better offering than Cain did. Cain's reaction to God's rejection reveals a darker side of human nature. He becomes angry and dejected. In a moment of grace, God warns Cain, "If you do what is right, will you not be accepted? But if you do not do what is right, sin is crouching at your door. It desires to have you, but you must rule over it." Genesis 4 verse 7. Ignoring this warning, Cain invites Abel to the field and murders him, committing the first homicide in biblical history. When God asks Cain about Abel's whereabouts, Cain famously replies, "Am I my brother's keeper?" Genesis 4 verse 9. A question that continues to challenge our sense of responsibility towards one another. God's punishment of Cain is severe yet merciful. Cain is cursed to be a restless wanderer, but when he expresses fear of being killed, God places a mark on him to protect him, showcasing the complexity of divine justice and mercy. The story of Cain and Abel is rich with themes that remain relevant today, including sibling rivalry, the nature of acceptable worship, unchecked anger, personal responsibility, and the balance between justice and mercy. The serpent in the Garden of Eden is one of the most mysterious figures in the book of Genesis. Often seen as the embodiment of evil, its true identity and nature have been debated for centuries. In Genesis 3 verse 1, we meet the serpent. Now the serpent was more crafty than any of the wild animals the Lord God had made. This introduction raises questions. If God made all creatures, why would one act against his will, and why a serpent? The Hebrew word for serpent, nash, can mean snake, but also has connotations of shining bronze and divination. Some scholars suggest the serpent wasn't a literal snake but a shining, possibly divine or semi-divine being. This idea gains traction considering the serpent's abilities to speak, reason, and debate theological matters, traits not associated with reptiles. In many ancient cultures, serpents symbolized wisdom, renewal, and immortality due to their ability to shed skin. If the serpent isn't just a talking snake, what is it? Some traditions link the serpent with Satan, the adversary of God, though Genesis never explicitly makes this connection. This interpretation became popular in later literature and the New Testament. Others see the serpent as representing an internal voice of temptation, the human capacity for rationalization and self-deception. In this view, the serpent is a metaphor for the human psyche's ability to justify breaking rules and boundaries. Another theory posits that the serpent was a member of the Divine Council, a group of lesser divine beings mentioned in ancient Near Eastern texts and alluded to in the Old Testament. This would explain the serpent's knowledge and abilities and its desire to disrupt God's plans. The serpent's actions are sophisticated and psychologically astute, introducing doubt and promising hidden knowledge. After the fall, God curses the serpent to crawl on its belly, which some speculate means it originally had legs. This could be symbolic of the serpent's demotion in status. Interestingly, serpent imagery isn't always negative in the Bible. In Numbers 21, Moses makes a bronze serpent that heals the Israelites, and in John, Jesus compares himself to this serpent. The serpent in Eden serves as a catalyst for the human journey of free will and moral choice. Its ambiguous nature forces us to confront difficult questions about the origins of evil, free will, and the complex relationship between God and his creation. Whether literal, metaphorical, or something in between, the serpent continues to challenge our understanding of good and evil. When we think of Noah's Ark, we often picture a quaint wooden boat, not much larger than a modern yacht. However, the biblical dimensions reveal a ship of epic proportions. According to Genesis 6 verse 15, God instructed Noah to build an ark 300 cubits long, 50 cubits wide, and 30 cubits high. A cubit, an ancient measurement based on the forearm length, typically ranged from 18 to 22 inches. Using the conservative estimate of 18 inches per cubit, the ark would have been approximately 450 feet long, 75 feet wide, and 45 feet high. To put this in perspective, this vessel would have been as long as 1.5 football fields, as wide as a 6-lane highway, and as tall as a 4-story building. Imagine a ship larger than a football field and as tall as a 4-story building. The ark, with a volume of 1.5 million cubic feet, was like 569 standard semi-trailers or 25 train boxcars. This colossal vessel had a displacement of about 22,000 tons, greater than 70 modern railway stock cars. Its design, essentially a giant floating box, was perfect for stability in turbulent waters, with a length-to-width ratio of 6:1, recognized by modern naval architects as ideal for rough seas. Surprisingly, this ratio wasn't used again in shipbuilding until the late 19th century. Could such a massive wooden ship actually float? Modern shipbuilders confirm these dimensions are seaworthy. In fact, similar-sized wooden ships were built as recently as the 19th century, such as the 6-masted schooner Wyoming, which was 450 feet long. The ark's interior, divided into 3 decks, provided ample room for thousands of animal species, along with food and fresh water for a year-long voyage. Scholars estimate less than half of the ark's capacity was needed to house representatives of every animal family known today, leaving plenty of space for food supplies and Noah's family. This monumental undertaking required advanced planning, engineering skills, and immense labor, making the ark a feat of ancient engineering designed to preserve life through the most cataclysmic event in Earth's history. The story of the Tower of Babel, found in Genesis 11, has fascinated people for millennia. This tale of human ambition and divine intervention has inspired numerous interpretations, from literal historical accounts to allegorical lessons about pride. According to the Bible, humanity, united by a single language, attempted to build a tower to reach the heavens. God intervened, confusing their languages and scattering them across the earth. What exactly was this tower, and how tall could it have been? Ancient Mesopotamian ziggurats, step pyramids used as temples, provide one possible model. The largest known ziggurat, dedicated to Marduk in Babylon, stood about 300 feet tall. Some researchers propose the Tower of Babel was much taller, potentially rivaling modern skyscrapers. How could ancient people build so high without modern materials and engineering? Some theorists suggest the tower's construction might have used advanced, possibly extraterrestrial technology. They argue that the precise stone cutting at Pumapunku or the massive blocks used in the Egyptian pyramids indicate ancient civilizations might have had advanced technological capabilities. The idea of the tower as a space elevator or launchpad for interstellar travel has also been proposed. While these theories are speculative and rejected by mainstream archaeology, they highlight the enduring mystery surrounding the Tower of Babel. Regardless of its physical nature, the story warns against unchecked human pride and the misuse of unified effort, raising profound questions about human progress and our relationship with the divine. Joseph's coat, often referred to as the coat of many colors, is a beloved tale from the book of Genesis. This garment was more than a simple piece of clothing. It was a symbol of status and controversy. In Genesis 37 verse 3, we read that Jacob made for Joseph a coat of many colors. The Hebrew phrase used here, kotonet pasim, has been debated among scholars. While traditionally translated as coat of many colors, some argue it more accurately means a long robe with sleeves, or an ornamented tunic. Regardless of its exact appearance, this coat was special. In ancient Near Eastern culture, clothing symbolized status and authority. By giving Joseph this unique garment, Jacob declared him his favored son and potential heir, despite Joseph being the 11th of 12 brothers. This favoritism had serious implications in a society where the firstborn son typically inherited the family's wealth and authority. Jacob's decision to elevate Joseph was radical and disruptive. The coat also carries deeper symbolic meaning. Some scholars see it as representing royalty, foreshadowing Joseph's future rise to power in Egypt. Others view it as a priestly garment, suggesting a connection to purity and sacred status. The coat's multicolored or ornate nature could also symbolize Joseph's multifaceted dream interpretations. This story, with its layers of symbolism and meaning, highlights the significant role Joseph played in shaping the destiny of the Israelites. Joseph's story highlights his role in providing for the nations he eventually ruled over in Egypt. His multicolored coat holds symbolic significance, resembling the high priest's ephod and Jesus' seamless garment, John 19 verses 23 to 24. This coat sparked jealousy among his brothers, leading them to sell Joseph into slavery. This act set off a chain of events that culminated in Joseph's rise to power in Egypt and the salvation of his family and future Israel. Ironically, his brothers used the coat to deceive their father, dipping it in goat's blood to falsely claim Joseph was killed by a wild animal. Genesis 37 verses 31 to 33. This simple piece of clothing became a catalyst for a story of betrayal, forgiveness, and redemption, offering insights into the human condition and divine providence. The Genesis prayer, while not explicitly mentioned in the Bible, draws from the truths in Genesis, acknowledging God as the Creator, Genesis 1 verse 1, and our role as stewards of His creation, Genesis 1 verse 28. It embraces the reality of sin and God's promise of redemption, Genesis 3 verse 15, encouraging us to seek God's wisdom and guidance in our lives.
If you found this video enjoyable, please consider liking and sharing it. Additionally, subscribing to this channel will ensure that you receive more updates in the future. Thank you.